is now because I sit kind of far away from the screen. Hey, I don't even know if I'm gold or not. If I'm golden, shining through the rain. Gold. I think I'm gold. I think I'm golden. I think I'm ready. Let's make sure the switch turns on and everything. Like that's been an issue. Sometimes I hear my switch and is my camera? Yeah, my camera's good. What up, everyone? Notdonknotts here. My Switch has been loud. I guess that's the best way to put it. My Switch has been loud lately. Especially when playing Octopath. The thing's literally been through multiple countries. Like in the half decade I've had it. Love it. And such a trooper. Just a general G. God, let's go ahead. Get out of the eShop. Oh yeah, that's right. Before I start, we're going to change something real quick. My good friend Nephos has put out a new album. So before we begin, I'm just going to I should have done this before stream. I'm going to switch out the directory. Let's see. Okay. All right, maybe that didn't work for a reason last time. Oh, I probably had to go in a lot deeper. But yeah, you can find. Oh God, I think that's what gets me copyrighted every. I don't know if that's what gets me copyrighted every time or not. Something. A sample they use has been triggering Twitch's DMCA or audio recognition, and it's been muting parts of my stream. And I'm not sure if it's like that or if there's another sample I'm just not too sure of. Let's see. I kind of actually want to listen to a new track. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, if you would like to check out his music, you got links to his Spotify and YouTube right there. And with that out of the way, we're going to finish Shantae. Let's see. Yo, we banning Chicky? I mean, Chicky redeemed a ban counter, so we're banning Chicky. You know? I'm just giving the people what they want. And welcome Mortimer Nova. I hope it's about fucking time. The people, including Chicky, have spoken. And now Chicky joins the many ranks of being banned. 50% done. I don't know. I'm still feeling psyched. I'm still feeling ready. Hey, look over there. Looks like we stumbled into another memory. Cape Station Ocean. I flew Shantae here to stop an act of sabotage. Boy, it was my race tickets that got us in here. Abner and Poe still haven't forgiven me for giving their tickets to you two instead. See? I was sacrificing for the team before any of this. We wouldn't even be here if you'd been helpful from the beginning.
Huh?
Hold up. This was before us, right? So why does Roddy look so strange? Oh yeah, look at that. You look kind of alive.
What?
It's like I'm not a zombie. What does this mean? Evidently, Shantae knew you in the past and never mentioned it. I suppose this is how she remembers you. What? Not possible. Although, it does explain why she's so nice to me. Especially when other people run away. Right, I mean she sees you for you. Gosh, it's all so honest. Like how she sees you as the weak little crybaby. Sigh. We're wasting time. To conquer this memory, we're going to have to win this race. Let's see. I gotta also remember like how to play this. It's been a minute. But now it's March, so, and I'm actually excited about the next thing we're going to do. Or at least, like, it's going to be... Okay, that's very generous, actually. The next thing we're going to do, which is speedrunning. I want to get back into speedrunning. Topless that. You know what? One day, I'll get speedrunning. Well, that's cool too. You know, just a little bit. But I wanna, oh shit, totally forgot I need a Bolo. Evil, welcome. Mort was just talking to me about how I need to do it, like learn how to topless. Stream. Mort, congratulations on your streak. These were the achievements I was talking about. So weird. I don't know. Is that a Twitch? I'm imagining that looks like Twitch font and logo. Evil, I hope you as well. I was looking in your Fortnite stream today. I'm watching a stream you normally watch. Yay. Like what? I mean to be like, they've I guess already been doing that, you know? Because you get more points whenever you watch consecutively. Just grab his food. I feel ya. Whew. There we go. Oh, no problem. Halt. Who goes there? No one's allowed past this point. Ammo Baron's orders. Let's blast this clown. I think we're going to need a spike ball. so sorry. I'm just focused. I was like, I don't want to redo this fight. Not that it's bad. It's just like with these characters, I just feel so lackluster. I don't know. Again, this isn't my favorite mode, but that may be due to like fatigue. Oh, more! I'm surprised you haven't seen that buddy emote. I guess I've seen that just buddy emote just constantly in Hot Cross's chat. I'm not sure if Evil saw, but I got subbed. I got gifted a sub and was gifted. I don't know if it's their feed or not, but yeah, there's that. Like, I have to share this more. I have to share this. I need other people to know. I can't be silent. I refuse to be silent. Yeah, I'm not, yeah. Nah. Yeah, this is, I have to just... Yeah, I'm not a fan of feet, and I was just like, I really hope this isn't theirs. Like... And, I don't know. I don't know. Who am I to judge emotes? All my emotes are like... not professional or whatever. Oh my god! Oh my god, no, we do have professional emotes. Actually, I do have professional emotes. I've had artists work on mine. Like Aru, who has blessed us with a new raid emote. I forgot. I know, I was so blessed. I'm so blessed. She messaged me after the stream and was like, hey, can I turn that into a reality? I was like, alright, let's do this. So, extremely blessed. Oh shit, how much? I guess I was gliding. That's weird. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I totally forgot. Oh damn! Good, congratulations. Oh my god! And with these enemies, stop. Yep. Congratulations. I still haven't been in Dark Souls. Like, the only one I've, like, ever got close to beating was, Bloodborne. And I just couldn't beat that stupid spider. Fucking hated that, like, the Moonlight Queen or whatever. I played and installed it twice. Fair. I mean, that's, like I said, I did about Bloodborne. And I wish, like I said, the only Dark Souls games I have now is the Prepare to Die edition. Oh god, I thought I had way more health. Yeah, the only Dark Souls game I have is the Prepare to Die edition on PC. I bet I could run remaster. I just find it, I just would find it hilarious to beat Dark Souls on the Switch. I don't know. There's just something there's is it weird? Is it weird that there's like a weird like sense of joy of like just beating something on what is considered inferior hardware? Or like knowing it may not be the best way of playing the game. I don't know. I will say, I did. I caved in, and oh, the furthest you made is on the Switch. Damn, I never knew that. It just feels like out of every version, like especially people with like more higher end PCs, like the Switch version would be the least appealing, unless you're really that gung-ho about portability. And even then, we now got the, what's it called? Even now we got the, oh god, Steam Deck, so you could potentially play a lot more than just the first Dark Souls. But I did cave and buy 2 games that were like clearanced from GameStop today. I don't want to tell you what they are, and I didn't look up reviews or anything of them. I just kind of like knew a little bit about them and just kind of got them on a whim. So expect stream soon. Oh, you know it. Oh, you know it. You know, like GameStop's desperate, and they're trying to compete with Steam. That's what I want to see next. I want to see GameStop just like going full on into like those like hentai games or rated AO games. Fuck it, we got nothing else to lose, GameStop executive says. It's a conference call. Oh yeah, I think so. I was like making sure I was in the headspace, and we're halfway through with this game. We're in this mode, so I think we're gonna be okay. Maybe. But thank you for stopping by, Villain. I'm excited for what we're going to do next. I'm excited for what I have planned after we finish this mode. Oh my god. Maybe. 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 Yeah, I wasn't sure if you heard me last stream, but I did check out your demo. I listened to Color Bars, and I keep forgetting the one with the S. It's the first one that you all put as like the song you first hear, and I really like them. Hey, if y'all didn't know, Villain makes music, as in now. I've seen people describe it as an emo band, so go check them out. Soft Teeth. There we go. Alright. We gotta go over here, throw in like that. Okay, I should just beat the crap out of everyone with this boot. Alright. Sometimes I'll just like zone out and just like stare into this while like my brain is like on autopilot and just entering everything I need to do. Oh god, I totally forgot. Oh no. Let's try and avoid taking damage. Oh god. Ooh. Come on, Roddy Tops. I don't even want to go over. Well, maybe. Ugh. I really think there's going to be anything worthwhile over there. Damn it. Nope. I knew the answer. Ooh. Oh. David Bolo.
Hero time.
Oh, I'll probably have to create a platform. Oh.
Nice. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Alright, let's get back to Roddy. I feel comfortable with Roddy Tops out of everyone in this crew. Everyone else, especially Sky. I don't like Sky in this mode. Maybe it's just because like I haven't upgraded her bird all the way up. But I've been struggling. Also, I just kind of hate these. I just kind of hate how you just kind of have to make a blind jump sometimes. Just that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, is there something to latch on? Oh. Alright. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Let's go.
No, ain't got no magic. Ain't got no crystal ball. Alright. I will say that's rude. Whew. That was really rude. See, and okay, I don't think there's gonna be anything to the left I need to think about. Okay, so it actually stops if, like, disappearing if someone's on top of it. Foxy, Roddy. I feel like that like open gate gap was 100% inspired by Mega Man. I mean, this whole game. Especially all the side section, or this industrial bit feels like from the X series. The beams especially feels like they played like Mega Man X like 5 and they're like, let's do this. Who knows, it could have been like any of the other games. I really haven't played like most, I think that's probably the case now, most of the original NES Mega Man games. I've only beaten 2. That's the one I can say I've beaten with confidence. Not sure if I've beaten all the others. Oh, I know I didn't beat like the last 3. And I can't remember for the life of me if I actually beat 1. I always thought about like going through a series of those. But also, like, it's like old like Nintendo hard. I totally feel that. Yeah, no, I was or one of my things I'm thinking about doing for this channel was try to finish the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cart. Just like beat every game on it. Though I guess that's going to need some qualifiers because of the fighting game. But I was like thinking of doing that as like a thing. Just beating all the games on the cart, including like the fighting game. And the GBA games, obviously. So we need to do this, this. How is the Castlevania one? I played it a little bit. I've heard people say it's not as bad as you may think, or at least the second one's not as bad. First one's probably a little chunky, but also same thing with those TM Turtles games. Like, the third one I heard is like actually pretty good. Makes me just want to check that one out in particular. I mean, I played worse. Fair. I'm trying to think, like, what's the worst, like, not GBA game, Game Boy game I've ever played. Or one that I've, like, finished. Oh, God. Oh! I did not like that at all. I remember playing the Mega Man. I hope we get the Mega Man Extreme games. God, that'd be cool. Those are really cool, like Game Boy Pocket, well, Game Boy and color games. I definitely want to check those out one day. Oh damn, huh? Ooh, that's weird. So they even tells lurkers, huh? Apologies. Yeah, that definitely needs. Yeah, get. Well. Oh, we've been seeing it. I'm curious of like how long he's gonna follow. Mort got one. Mort. Fucking nerds. Yeah, coming to NDK streams 3 times in a row. Ugh. Also, welcome, Candace. Oh god. I hope you is well. Okay, we're gonna have to do this. Oh my god. Alright, got this. Alright, lurk. Fair, valid. I hope you have a great lurk. Let's see. But yeah, like I love the Game Boy. I think it was a super cool system. Just saw like how much mileage people were able to get out of it over the years. I think that's super neat. People are still getting use out of it to this day. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that like people were using Game Boys to make music when I was in high school. Still is. But it was just like a wow moment for me. Oh. There we go. Wait, who's using... Is it Rory? I don't know. Speaking of Game Boys, I know... I have my Game Boy Pocket. I cleaned it up a bit. Fuck you, Rory, I'll kill him. Oh, you know what I should do? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I should try to... Oh, I wonder how much a cart for Shaq Fu goes for. I wonder how much Shaq Fu goes for used. I fucking speedrun Shaq Fu on my actual Game Boy Pocket. No. Oh, I knew that was like, oh no. Everything's falling apart. I'm gonna put my Game Boy there. Blast it all! That ship cost billions of crowdfunded dollars. Whoa. Hello, ladies. Hey, what about me? Well, sorry, fella. Didn't hardly see you there. Look, we're at max capacity, kid. So how about you step aside and make room for a real man? Eyes on the prize, ladies. No one can resist a man in uniform. Boom. So who's gonna be the lucky lass? I got a flying carpet uniform and about a dozen animated movie soundtracks to choose from. Emil Baron's gonna show you the world. We're gonna soar over and under clouds, fly low and drag our fingers in a lake and all that garbage. Step right on up. Plenty of Emil Baron to go around. No takers? Anyone?
Pass.
I'm in. Oh, seriously?
Psych!
Oh, Roddy Tops. You skip out on a heartfelt musical number with yours truly? Fine. In that case, witness the fury of an Emil Baron scorn. Shining, simmering soldier. Okay, I should probably use Bolo for all this. Yeah, Bolo's the best bet for this fight. Wait, maybe. Ooh, I was just a little too close. What? Oh my god. What the fuck's wrong with my control?
Friends to the end.
69%. Thank goodness. Thank goodness saves. He brings. Damn it. I was just hoping I could just like essentially make him drop a potion. Yeah, sorry for the lack of commentary. I'm just like really focusing on trying to get him out of the way. It seems like I just need to like make sure I have enough damage as Bolo if I'm going to use Bolo to essentially, oh. Actually, I should use Bolo on this stuff. Yeah, then Bolo becomes useless because he's not doing enough damage to... There we go. Nope. Oh, I was just smashing my way through that. Groan. What happened? Oh,
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Alright, so where to now? When Roddy left to watch the end of the world show, I stayed behind. You're lucky I was left behind because of her. You should have told us what happened to Hypno Baron was playing from the beginning. I had to walk all the way to his castle on foot. I was promised new legs, and now I'm going to take them. Try it. Come on, you two, hands to yourselves. Hypno Baron's castle should be the final memory. Can we do this one more time? Fine. I suppose. That's the spirit.
No problem. We did it!
Like, you're wanting to talk Bolo. You've wanted to fuck Risky since the first game.
Aha!
Here it is. Hypno Baron's castle. Before we dive in, let's go over what we know. Each of the memories is an intent by Shantae to stop us. To survive each one brings us closer to a single pivotal moment in time. And what moment would that be? The very instant before she was ambushed by Risky Boots and turned to evil. We have to warn her and stop the change before it happens. Then what? I'm not sure. Hopefully we can snap her out of it and we can go home.
And what if we mess up?
She just turns out evil all over again. Won't we just end up jumping into your brain like we did before?
No!
We could be trapped in the night realm forever. Maybe. It's not the best thing about it. Let's just make sure we don't fail, okay?
Let's go!
Honestly, like, this shouldn't be, like, this section shouldn't be too crazy. Or, I don't know. I'm already, like, starting to take back what I said. Especially since you're playing with the... Oop, how much I can see ahead. Castlevania GB done. Hell yeah. How do you feel about it? Was it an okay experience? Was it the 5 out of 10 that people kind of... Pretty good? Okay. It's the first one, right? So we're going to do this. Yeah, solid 6 or 5. Alright. Nothing too crazy, but like serviceable. Wouldn't complain too much. I thought about the Castlevania games, but I'm not sure if I could play Castlevania 2. Castlevania 2 seems like, well, it probably is like a lot easier now that there's guides and like actual things to help explain that game. But I imagine during the day it was rough. Oh, come on. Kinda hate, like, every character's inconvenience enough that you're forced to switch. Oh, this is the exit. Damn. Okay. Let's run back. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. No, 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 no. see. I bet we have one. We're just going to fight her. Okay, that's fine. Again, inconvenience enough. Where it's like, I have to, like, switch to Sky if I want to make it jump. Oh, it's infinitely better. I'm glad they hit it out of the park with the second one. And that's what I remember the most, like, I just remember the Game Boy one feeling pretty good, despite everything. Or the second one, I should say. Same thing with Contra on the Game Boy. It's respectable. Like, you're not going to, like, play it over any other Contra, like, if you have the choice, but it's respectable in its own right. Alright, let's see. Let's get up here. Oh, I feel like I could do Contra. Well, I feel like I could do Contra, and then I think of Hard Corps. Hard Corps would definitely give me trouble. Like, I'll admit it. Really? That's lame. Oh, wow, okay. Okay. Damn. That was a big one for me. Yeah, I bet. I bet so. Like, that's no joke. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I've, like, checked this whole area for this last thing we need. Ah, cool. Sweet, sweet. I think, like, so far, like, the hardest gaming challenge that at least I've done on stream was just finishing Brigand. Just finishing Brigand on stream, and that was... that felt good. That felt good to, like, just bang my head against for almost 4 hours and just finally conquer a game that was just sitting in my library unfinished. There's still a couple games. I was just like going over that the other day in my library, just separating games that I've started but haven't like, I started pretty deep and gotten pretty deep but didn't finish. So like Final Fantasy 12 is there because I got like 30 hours in. Same thing with Tales of Vesperia. I've tried getting into that game twice. I think there's like other big ones. I mean, currently fucking The Good Life's on there, but The Good Life's also getting DLC, so I don't know anymore. Oh, I just killed myself. I can't believe The Good Life is getting DLC. That is so weird. Not like that game doesn't deserve DLC or anything, but I don't know. I guess maybe it was like Kickstarter, like backer promised. Oh no! All I know is I haven't told Cruz about it, and I don't know if anyone else cares enough. Well, one person probably does care enough to tell the Cruz about it, but I'll double check. Ooh. Phew.
Let's go.
And that's what it is, just trying to clean up shit from the library. No, feel. I mean, that's why I'm kind of doing the Shantae games, because I've been sitting on them for a while. You know, same thing with River City Girls. Just like games that I've kind of been sitting on and want to play, kind of do something with. Ugh. Oh my god. Why did that not work?
All set.
Oh, over. Alrighty. Trying to think. Like the No More Hero games, that's also because I have all of them and want to like to finish them someday. I'm sorry, I need to take my hat off. It's like hurting my head kind of. Oh, thank you, Roddy. Thank you. No thanks, game. Oh. I seriously hate how bullshit this enemy is. Like I can't even hit her from behind. She auto blocks. Alright, let's see, I can probably just... Sweet. Oh, come on. I don't like you. Can't hit from the bottom? No. It's just once she blocks everywhere. Oh my god. Okay, it looks like if you mix up your shots, you can overcome her. Alright. I know that's where they usually prefer it and get hit from behind. Oh, more. Mort's an expert on Spider Women. I'm glad we got an expert on Spider Women here today. I said, don't knock him down. Oh, waka, yeah, just waka waka. Like that does not feel right at all. Like, what am I doing wrong there? What does it want me to do? Bro, you know what does feel oh, what feels right, Mark? It's so smooth. Ooh, I need to look into it. I've been enjoying my like dives into GB stuff. I've been enjoying the Switch Game Boy stuff. There we go. Oh, sucked in. Okay. See, even these fires aren't hit. Like, what is this? Oh my god. Oh, fuck off. It's literally the most bullshit enemy in this game. Like, no matter what mode you play, the spider's the worst. The spider is just there to be difficult and make you waste time. God, I'm not trying to do this. Alright. Alright, we're doing good so far. Jinx myself. Jinx myself really hard there.
Let's go.
I have to like just spam it and just try and just keep her not throwing a projectile on me. Alright, so what does it want me to do here? I'm guessing no. Alright. Just slur this bad over. Okay, cool. Yep, I can breathe a little. Oh, we're there. Yes. All right, boss time. Blah, it's you. Wait, who are you? Where? No matter, my incantations is nearly complete. Tremble as you witness the end of your world. Behold, the creature of unspeakable horror. Ha ha ha, quiver in the shadow of pure evil. What? Who are these folks? Stand-ins? I thought this was live. Fool, stick to the script. Meh. We'll fix it in post. I'm still here. Crackle energy, shadow rises menacingly, link on screen, swap out the stun double, etc, etc. Here it is, cue in the on-screen boss name text and false start the fight with recycled classic moves. Got it. Come at thine, brother. Squid Baron. The title card. Fix and post. Alright. Stage 2. Who's who of Deja Vu? You got that right. Oh. Nope. And Roddy has no magic. So it's just gonna be one of those where we can't. We only have our 3 little health bars. I wish I could skip by this. Just let me through, Squid Baron. Stop yanking my chain around. Oh my god. I'm going to have to just remain duck the whole time. That's great. Oh well. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad. I just gotta make sure I don't take any damage in this first phase. Oh. Dual Barons. Who's who of Deja Vu? I was caught off guard, and as soon as I killed him, I was like, oh no, I'm not prepared for the other dude. We killed Squid Baron though. We're making progress. I gotta remember Bolo has like a lot of magic I should be using. I guess just like start throwing out these spike balls like right about now. Just like dump until Magic Baron or whoever gets hit by them. Oh my god. That's rude. Almost had it. Almost had it that time. So close. It was like right there. I don't know why I keep trying to like fly to the middle. Obviously, it hurts me more than it helps me. Oh, come on. Strategy was working though. Except the part where I got hit. I just can't believe he takes out like a full, like either he takes out like third of your health or he just takes out a full heart, which either way sucks. Because usually by that point, I don't have either. Stretch my fingers. You know, gotta get limbered. You know, I bet you all do your pre-gamer stretches. Oop. Wait. Oop. Let me. All right, there we go. Ooh, there we go. Just had to focus in. I just didn't want to repeat.
All right.
We did it! We kicked that squid to the curb. And we beat the final memory. That means we'll be seeing Shantae at her uncle's workshop next.
Aha.
We gotta prevent her transformation and bring her back. Got it?
Let's do it!
Yeah.
Hey,
I guess
Lola was right.
It's not exactly time travel, but we are trying to change the future. I might have judged you too quickly, Bolo. I like how everyone's just like, no hard feelings now. Alright, Top, sorry about, you know, questioning your loyalty and all that. I always knew you'd do anything to save Shantae, same as us. Don't let it happen again, Food. And well, as long as we're all saying stuff. Sky, you're sort of okay at bossing folks around, telling them what to do.
Thanks.
You know, we make a pretty good team. We're no half Genie, but we didn't do half bad. Sounds like we're ready to go. Remember, do whatever it takes to keep Uncle Mimic from throwing that switch. Next up, Uncle Mimic's workshop.
Nice.
Yes! Not bad.
I wonder if we have like a show off with evil Shantae.
What is this place?
Huh?
Another one of Shantae's memories.
Huh?
I don't think so. Ha 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 ha.
Hey!
It's her.
How pathetic.
Full step right into my trap. This is my domain. All of
You
it.
disgust me.
I'm annoyed that you made it this far, so I've decided to disband the Troublesome Trio. Prepare for a special place for each of you. A private nightmare where you can where your mind can suffer slowly while your body wastes away. Together, you might have stood a
You're
chance.
much too weak.
Nerds.
Oh no.
Shantae. She isn't here. She never was. You have no hope. Nothing to believe in. So, we really did fail her? My friend, she's really gone? I can't believe it's true. Now go. Wander forever, lost, separated, alone in darkness.
Hero time.
Oh boy, I hope they're generous with those hearts. I really hope they are. Oh god.
Let's go.
Ugh.
Hero time.
God damn it, there's squids here too. Oh, I should have seen them.
Nice.
I wonder if there's just like one for each character. Well, I guess I'm about to find out. Nope. Alright, gotta be
Hero time.
elegant. Gotta be elegant. That's what I was trying to go for.
Nice.
That was too close. That was way too close. Oh, thank you, game. The game is. I think the game developers knew this is on the tougher side, just a tad bit.
All set.
Okay, maybe not. that pot doesn't respawn. Oh my god. That felt so janky. Alright. Oh no!
Let's go.
That's bullshit. Fucking hate Bolo.
Let's go.
Oh yeah, we each have a stage.
Let's go. Let's go. Nice.
Oh, shoo. Yeah. Different levels, but we share the same. We still share the same life bar. Let's see. Okay, I can't do that. Oh god. At least Risky I don't mind. Risky's just like aiming. Like, that's just been her challenges, like how do you deal with her arc? She only has 2 arcs, how do you deal with them? Which kind of also makes her disappointing too. I don't know. Maybe it's just like this is the final mode and I'm just like kind of burnt out on this particular game. But this mode does feel underwhelming compared to some of the others. But you all have heard me say that before. Roddy Top is still probably my favorite one to play as. Let's see. Nope. Come on. I kind of want to save that. Now I know that. Oh, now they don't come back after death. I just want to sit on it. Oh fuck me! Fuck me! Oh, he's missed headshots. Oh, they're gonna be the death. They're literally gonna be the death of me. Oh no. Alright, maybe I don't need to throw my head. Maybe I can just jump. No. No, that was a stupid idea.
Ready.
Alright, next one comes back. Oh! What am I supposed to do here? Oh no, what? Oh my god. Oof. I'm surprised I got through that as quickly as I did. Oh, alright, just one more area with Risky. Alright, just gonna wait for her to come back. Oh! Excuse me? Alright. So I got through it. Yeah, I got through it like this. Then yeah, fuck, I'm throwing it all the way back. I need to remember there's gonna be a bounce. Nice. Alright. Oh, thank you. Oh. I think I know what it wants me to do. I think. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Just over here. Oh. And that's Roddy Tops. Alright, now let's do my least favorite one. Sky. I think at least I don't like Sky's mechanics the most. Especially just wrench disappearing in like a second. Although, I guess you could stay in on for like an extra second or so. Alright, okay. Alright. Alright, 1 out of 3. Shouldn't have done that. That's moving pretty fast. Just want to put wrench there. Oh, that was my fault. I need to remember that everybody's like moving around pretty fast. Yeah, that thing's coming in hotter than I would like. Yeah, so. Okay, I am going to throw a wrench. Just not sure when. That's the issue. There we go. Fucked up. That was as soon as I threw it, I was like, "What am I doing?" Then when I jumped, I was like, "I'm an idiot. Why am I jumping?" Oh, I forgot about the fucking wrench. I forgot. I need to put wrench. No! Oh well, at least we just have to restart Skies, and not like everyone's. Which we only did one of Skies, so no big deal. We got this though. We only got 2 more levels. Just this level and whatever the boss is. I imagine the boss is just going to be a copy of whatever evil Shantae we've already fought. I feel like we already fought Shantae. Yeah, it was risky. I feel like we're just going to get that boss again. Alright, that wasn't so bad. We're going to save our health, or we're going to save from cracking that just yet. Wait, how am I supposed to get over? Oh shit. I was like, oh, that's not so bad. Wait a second, how am I supposed to get over there? Alright. It's close. Alright, we got one more. Fucked up. Fucked up. Didn't need to do that. I'm guessing I'm catching it, or catching it on the way down, I mean. Like I'm gonna be jumping. Like I'm gonna be jumping, towards it. Alright, gotta wait. Gotta wait. Ooh. Alright. Oh, no. Whew. Nice. Alright, final level. I'm lucky to still be in one piece. Speak for yourself. I nearly lost my head.
Huh?
Roddy Tops? Bolo?
Huh?
Sky, is that you? Yeah. Roddy Top, are you there too? Yeah. Ooh. I don't get it. How do we manage to find each other?
You simpering fools!
You want to see your friend? Here, take a good look. We're gonna have to fight her, huh? She's still alive. Of course she is. I told you she was gone to illuminate. I only told you she was gone to illuminate your hope. You had no hope. Why didn't it work? I can't speak for these two. Deep down, I knew even if I failed, Roddy Tops would find a way to reach you. She's a loyal friend who would never quit. Same. I was pretty sure that Sky would outsmart you even if I couldn't find a way out. And I know Bolo's determination would have see him through any obstacle. So there's your answer. We place hope in each other, like any good team would. Now it's time for you to listen to us. We're your friends. It's time for you to come with us and leave this place behind. Sky. Poor, weak, half genie runt. She tried. I'll give her that much. But in the end, she was still no match for me. That's it. She's gone. I'm all that's left of your friend.
No! It can't be true!
Shantae. Now then, how about put an end to all three of you at once and for all? Try it. I'm done pulling punches. I'm going to make you pay for everything you did.
We are not holding back!
It's 3-on-1 and we're not holding back. Ooh.
Together!
Shantae, we're here. She stopped you at any cost, and so will we. So you're finally ready to fight, are you? Then let's see it. Come on, give me everything you got. Oh, I bet I don't have, like, anything decent. Oh, okay. Brains. Oop, 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 oop. Whew. Sucky evil Shantae. I wonder if we have to fight the machine. Ha 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 ha. Those fools. Again. They believed you were destroyed. They fought recklessly with every ounce of strength they had left. By defeating me, they fell into despair, and now they're lost forever.
No.
Oh yes? I can feel it. The darkness spreading. My strength is increasing. And
You're
you?
much too weak.
How does it feel to lose? You have failed your friends and family so miserably. Please, everyone's still counting on you.
This is the end.
Here in the darkness, where no one can save you. Goodbye. Stop. Who said that? Blast it, curse you. I need more time, Sky, you still alive?
Looks like we're finally starting to wise up to this evil duplicate's tricks.
She's been splitting us apart and showing us
She
lies.
wants us to lose hope and give up on our own.
What?
How pathetic.
Nor her.
Shantae, listen.
We've been friends as long as I can remember. I know you're confused right now and that the dark magic has you surrounded. But you gotta fight it.
Break free.
Of the darkness and follow your heart. Shantae, I know I could be a rotten friend, that I mess up a lot, but I want you to know that I've always believed in you. You're a friend to everyone, even to someone like me, who everyone else is afraid of. But it's time to remember who you really are. Find the kindness, compassion, and break free. Zeus, are you ready to find compassion in your heart? Zeus, are you ready to find compassion? Shantae, there you are. Look, I know you're just acting weird because of the dark magic inside of you, but your uncle's really worried. We're all worried. I know you never give up on us, so we never give up on you. Find your strength and courage. No, do not. Don't believe her lies. Wake up and fight. Zeus, you're just gonna have to wait. Sorry, buddy. Zeus. Zeus. You can get on top.
What happened? Where am I?
Phew.
We were trying to reach you for hours.
Are you okay?
I was afraid that you... Shh, give her a moment. How do you feel? I'm fine, I think. You were overcome by dark magic. It was my fault, I'm afraid. No, Uncle. It was mine. I wanted so dearly to be the hero this town expects me to be. But somewhere along the line, I've come to trust only my genie half and look down on my human half. Today I learned something, that without the help of my human friends, I'd be lost right now. The dark magic fed on my fears and turned them against me. I put you all in so much danger. I'm sorry. I'm just glad you're back. If I may be so bold, I'm beginning to think your human half is stronger than part of you. Thanks, Uncle. It's good to have you back. Now you know. We never give up on you. Zeus, you're just gonna have to wait, buddy. Okay, there's no time to waste. We got a pirate queen to catch. Who's with me?
All right.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Me too.
Friends to the end.
It's time to save the day. And this time, together. We can't let this song play out or else I get copyrighted on YouTube. I'm not even joking, this is a real thing that happens every time I upload this video onto YouTube. YouTube. Do not copyright this, do not copyright it. Thank you, Shantae. 2 hours and 13 minutes? 100. Okay, I like the first one. Alright, I'm gonna let my cat out. And
Shantae!
Then I'll talk a little bit about Shantae. My feelings on this one. And I'm not doing these two. Apologies if there's people out there really wanting to see me play a hero mode again and hardcore mode. I think I'm Shantae'd out. Or at least have Genie Shantae'd out for a while. Maybe later I'll, like, on my own time come to these. Not now. Alright, my cat really wants out. Let me let my cat out. And we'll continue with some other stuff. I got some other things planned. Yeah, that is on. Oh, okay. Okay. Alright, will do. Gotcha, will do. Alright.
Nephos.
Oh boy, I to be honest, I haven't really set up for this next part, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to just do it as we go. Some final thoughts on Shantae, or Half Genie Hero in particular. It was long. It was good. It was good. It's like I would, if I kick funded this game or crowds, kick funded or kickstarted this game, I would be pretty happy, like about the amount of content and the content within it. Some of it hits better than others. But that's going to be expected with a bunch of different modes. Risky had the best mode. Followed by Mighty Flip Force or Switch Force and the Ninja mode. Jamie's is alright. Beach Jam's just really, really hard. And Friends to the End, I think it's kind of a letdown. Kind of like more like weirder and not as cool as some of the other modes, sadly. Given that you have like 3 different characters. Alrighty. Next, I'm going to put up my Switch. And we're going to get ready for some speed running. We're doing it. We're gonna get back into running. First, I just need to play the game and remember how I actually plays. And I need let's see, unplug this. Grab this. Let's see, removing this over here. It's been a minute since I've used the 4x3 screen layout. I hope I remember everything is. Future tactics. Zeus, you're not coming back in here. I know how this goes. Alright, select ISO. Oh yeah, I should have double checked all my settings. No, it's running at 4x5, 4x3. I doubt it's